Welcome back to Pole Barn Garage, where today I have this 1971 Lincoln Mark III pile of garbage. This thing is absolutely hashed. I picked it up for $950, and that was $900 too much, except for one very special thing about this car that we'll get to in a minute. As you can see, it is urine yellow. It's a highly desirable color. It has the custom muffler delete. We have the ventilation hole in the roof. Actually, the car is so rotten and settled that neither door really latches. It is basically a biohazard inside of it. This door won't latch. I keep it closed with this bucket that was in the car. It's a pretty nice bucket, actually. I think it's possible that several generations of raccoons have lived in here. And the trunk, well, you can see Jess and I already kind of used this for some target practice. That should tell you how much I care about this. But in the trunk, we have a lot of stuff. Appear to be Mr. Jim Sausage and his paintings. A cow. That's highly valuable.
Oh, it's a buffalo. That's kind of cool.
These, huh? Something from Kansas City. Pre-sorted envelopes. Want to know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to reach my bare hands into this piece of shit and then catch the plague again. I don't want to do it. Not going to do it. We're not even going there. I know for a fact when I got this, loaded it on the trailer, about 10,000 brown recluses were inside of it. I'm going to bug bomb this thing. I'm going to get this stuff out of here. I'm going to dispose of it in an environmentally friendly fashion that you won't see. Then we could start working on the car. I'm not touching it. Not till I know it's not going to kill me. Now all the safety Karens in the comments can be appeased. I'm taking my safety seriously. Oh, good, spiders. Now I would bug bomb the thing, but I don't think bug bombing it would do any good with all the stuff in it. We got to let it get into the corners of the car. And yes, I'm going to show you the prize jewel of this car and the reason I even own it. One moment. Look at that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, somebody must have been a surveyor or something.
That's neat.
That's really cool. Anyway, let's get rid of it.
Oh, the smell.
English grammar and composition.
Dang-o. Doing our book learning today.
It says glass. What the hell is this? Oh, that. It's not for this.
No. That's handy.
Hey, look, a spider. Oh, good. More paintings. More pictures. Are these also by a Mr. Jim Sausage? American Institute of Architects. Certificate of Memberships. Wow, that's a brown recluse.
Yeah.
It seems like a bunch of vinyl. I don't think it's a vinyl top for this, though. It's maybe a convertible top for something. Junk either way. Well, it sure would be a shame if it caught on fire. 72 to 76 GM vinyl top is what that is. Well, if anybody needs that, they can check the atmosphere for it later. I mean, class of 1950, 35th reunion photo.
Oh, cool.
That would have been in 1985. This car has been sitting in a tow lot since approximately 1985. That makes sense. Whoa.
Nope.
That's an ant farm.
Nope.
I can't get them.
Ah!
They're shielded.
Well. Oh, stamp.
What if those are worth $1 million? Better look them up. Nope, too late. Well, I'm going to need this, actually. This tire looks decent. And with that, I don't care enough to look at any more of that. Bombs away. On the interior of the car, we have a bit of a similar situation. See, there's just not as much stuff in here, though, so I'm good with just throwing a bug bomb in it. But I figured we needed to at least open up a little area back there for it to kill something. I don't want to spend very much time in here, but I probably will have to spend some. So I'm going to bug bomb this, and then I'm going to show you the reason I own the car. Good enough. Let me show you why I own the car that I have to wear a Tyvek suit to touch. That is a 460. This is a 1971 Mark III. This is the last of the dove-headed 460s. That is 365 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. That motor is the only thing worth keeping on this whole car. That motor will go in that Torino. It'll bolt right in. And the 400 in the Torino is pretty dead now. So all we got to do in this video is figure out, is this good? And as icing on the cake, if we could get the transmission to work also, that would be nice. Now I do want to do one more thing before we actually start on this. I'm serious. My biggest concern is I don't want to get sick off of this thing again. I'm so scared of that now. I got some enzyme cleaner back there. It's industrial strength stuff. That stuff eats like rat poop and stuff like that. So once these bug bombs quit spraying, I'm going to mix up some of that concentrate and just soak the whole damn thing on enzyme cleaner. Well, I was going to put it in the weed sprayer, but the batteries are dead in it. I don't have an old pump up one anymore. Well, let's do a squirt bottle. What do you think, 50-50?
Yep, as strong as you could possibly make it.
Oh, 100% you said?
Oh,
okay,
I guess that's what I'm bad at math, you know?
I think it's eating my flesh, but it smells nice.
Oh, that is pleasant.
One of you guys in the comments turned me on to this stuff. I did a little research. Seems like it's the only thing that'll actually like get rid of rat urine and feces and stuff, because the enzymes in it eat it. Why not do it under here too? Those damn kids in their A10s, knock it off. Call me crazy. What if I power washed it first and then worked on it for a more pleasant experience? It's pretty wild. I know. Radical and new ideas here on Pole Barn Garage. Dude, this is seriously, this is all poop. I mean, some of it's leaves and stuff, but
yeah,
most of that is poop. This car just has a terrible aroma to it, so if it just makes it smell better, this is worth doing. Kill everything. Yeah, maybe I'll power wash the inside of the car too. Why not? There are some good usable parts on this thing. If you have a mental disorder and are restoring a Lincoln Mark III for some reason, I got some parts for you. I know Angus over at Junkyard Digs sent me a parts list of stuff he's looking for. Got good seat belts, got halfway decent seat in it actually. Got 18 pack Coors Light, they're all empty, and the car was in a tow lot. Let's put that story together. Like it might have been a rattle can rebuilt, maybe. I hope we got a real Dove engine. If not, this car ain't worth the steel it's made out of. Yeah.
Oh, there's little snails all over the place.
There must be some kind of floorboard left in it, so I'm gonna have to drain a couple spots.
I brought your hole punch.
Thanks. We all know how this video is gonna go, okay? Let's not fool ourselves. This car's junk. It's rotted in half. I know the frame is bad, okay? So you go cry about it if you want to, but I want the motor. We're not gonna hurt the motor, and we're gonna shred the rest. While I'm letting this thing sit here and air out, I am going to pull all the plugs out of it. Let's put a little oil in the cylinders. But before I put oil in the cylinders, I wanted to make sure it was a real Dove 460. Yes, it is. Dove C. I'd say that motor's probably worth $1,500. So we need to try to give this thing its best shot. I don't want to start it up dry. I usually do. And I never have any problems. But I want to take a little extra precaution with this one. Yank all the plugs out of it. Get something slick in there for the pistons. That way when she winds over, it's got its best shot at not breaking a ring or scoring a cylinder wall or something like that. Fun fact, these motor mounts will actually work in that Torino as well. I already bought motor mounts for the Torino. Those motor mounts are expensive. And it's got rust in it. And a lot of carbon. I think we're doing the right thing here for sure. I gotta get this air cleaner off here so I can mark what number 1 is. I see some rust on the choke flap. It's not great. Oh, good. Does it, it moves. That's better than some things I get my hands on. We're just gonna leave number 1 plugged into the cap here. He is the Duke, a number 1. Then I can rewire this thing in about 2 seconds. And then the rest of these, they've been chewed on quite a lot. They can go away. Yeah, there we are. This one appears to have fungus growing on it. How's that even possible? Oh no, it's just rust. Great, great. Oh, cool. Spiders. Oil. Oh, well, we got rust, carbon, oil, and I've only pulled 3 of them. Yeah.
We're playing tragedy bingo here.
Oh. Everybody lay your bets right now. Think it's gonna run? I think it's seized. It's the only good looking one out of the whole side. Still a lot of carbon, courtesy of the Autolite 4-barrel. Rust, or dirt maybe? Or oil, or sludge, or something. Oil. This is actually number 4 on a Ford. Fords are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Unlike every other car. The Ford one makes more sense, actually. Oh boy, more oil and carbon. Good possibility we have a 460 with bad valve guides and a carburetor that is not carbureting very well. Or it's locked up. The best penetrant you can make at home is 50-50 automatic transmission fluid and acetone. Or coconut nail polish remover, would probably be the same.
Just take your girlfriend, she won't mind.
The acetone pretty much just serves to thin the ATF so that it will actually creep into places. I'm going to shake this up real good. Then we're going to try to get it down in the cylinders. Well, we can get some of them at least. I think that one's full. Oh, too much. It's going to need more than I thought. That 460's got some big cylinders. I got some mineral spirits here. I think that'll probably work. Make another batch. Oh no. Oh, expert level.
Totally planned out.
I am the number 1 eyeballer. They're all filled up to the brim. Let's let this thing sit for at least a few hours before we try winding it over. And I'm going to take some regular old penetrating lube, soak everything I could see, just to make our life potentially a little bit easier later. And the hood hinges, because even though we don't care about this hood, we don't want to bend it because it might make a good sled this winter. Well, it's been a few hours, which is probably not long enough. Let's see what we can do with it anyway. Now, I started looking around on this thing, and it's bizarre. There is no starter solenoid on this. Everything loops back together. It looks kind of butchered and eaten, and it looks like the starter actually has a solenoid on it, like a GM. I think that red and blue wire there is the crank trigger. If we put a battery in it and touch that wire to the positive post, I think it'll crank. And hopefully it's not this other wire next to it that is eaten away and probably still connected to the starter down there. I got a whole bunch of batteries from Iron King Inc. They sent me a whole pallet of rebuilt batteries. Iron King Inc. Industrial Services. Something's happening. Is it on fire? Please be on fire. No. Damn it! Obviously we have no keys. I will probably end up having to remove the steering wheel, maybe pulling the lock cylinder, then we can crank it. But I'd like to know if it cranks first. I hope that's the one. It is. Hey, it moved. Come on, baby. Oh.
You just got covered.
Well, it cranked, did it?
Yeah, it did.
Stand back.
Ah.
Hey, that hole's got great compression. What the hell?
It's in my hair.
Damn it. Well, you saw it was stuck there, though.
Yeah.
I think we did some good to it. God bless. Did I mention this stuff is incredibly flammable?
Oh, great.
Maybe brake clean it. That'll wash it off and evaporate it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. Right. This, I know this seems counterproductive, but trust me, it'll wash it away, and then the brake clean evaporates pretty quickly, so goodbye to my grass, though. Just let that do that for a while. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice of it, though. Doesn't sound very good. Hey, look at that. Glove box light works. Courtesy lights are on the door. Oh, and the dash. The map light's on. It's reviving itself.
Yeah.
Those won't work without key power, which we won't have until we mess with the ignition switch. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the points while I'm in here. Put your screwdriver between the rubbing block here. Open them up. Tear off a chunk of sandpaper. Sand them off. You'll be back in business. I'll probably just come back to this thing tomorrow. See if we can't make it make beautiful 365 horsepower noises. It's probably more like 200 by the sounds of it cranking, but it's fine. Good morning, everybody. It just occurred to me that if I were to drag the car back about 10 feet, I wouldn't have to work in the baking, blazing sun. Let me finish cleaning up these points here. I ran out of time last night. Then I got a new rotor and a new cap to put on this thing. I figured I might as well. Plugs to throw in it, new wires too. I mean, you know, it's practically going to be a new engine. There we are. That's all there is to that. And here's our new cap. It's a standard cap. The Blue Streak caps are still made in the USA, actually, if that's something that matters to you. Let's go ahead and put the plugs in it. It takes Autolite 45s like most big block Fords. I better get a gap gauge because these are points and they should be about 35 thousandths. And that looks more like 50 thousandths to me, and points are actually going to struggle with that if you don't check it. I'm going to close the gap by putting it on the core support here and just pushing slightly. You don't tap them or anything, you'll break some. It doesn't take much to bend that ground strap a little bit closer to the electrode. You want it to just drag as you put it in here, and you don't want to be able to wiggle it. So I got to go a little bit closer than that. And if you go too far, it's no big deal. Most gap gauges have a little hook on them to bend that sucker right back out. I think we cranked it enough that all the crap is out of the cylinders. So I'm just going to start putting them in. I actually have to look up the firing order for a 460 because I know GM and Mopar firing orders off the top of my head. I do not know Ford firing orders. 154 something. So I know where 1 is. We can start there. Left the number 1 wire on it so that I can remember that's number 1. I'll grab one that looks kind of sort of like it as far as length is concerned. We'll replace 1 and then we'll work counterclockwise around this distributor because the 460 rotates counterclockwise. We're wired for sound. I'm going to cut the fuel line on this thing just in case there's something floating around in that tank still, and we don't want to suck that up into this. Boy, you can't get to nothing on this thing. Here, I'll just take it off the carb here, and then we'll just run a brand new one. Well, now it'll pump up on top of the engine and catch everything on fire, and problem solved, really. I'm just going to jump straight to stealing this thing, actually. I'm going to try to just bust the lock cylinder out of the column and get this thing to turn. Because if we could do that, boy, that'd be nice. Let me see if I can pull the steering wheel on this thing and remove that lock cylinder, and then we could just use a screwdriver to crank it, which would be fantastic. We are going to have to steer and shift this thing, hopefully, so we might as well address that now. I don't care at all about this car or the steering column or any of it, so I will be as violent as required. Phew, why does that smell so bad? Ugh, God, what the hell died in the steering column? No, that's gone. It fell into the grass. We all know how this game goes. Lawnmower will find it. That's alright. Despite my best efforts at playing Grand Theft Auto with the steering column, I soon reached a point of desperation. I don't know if this is actually going to work, but I'm going to try. Well, I sure mangled the hell out of that. Every time I do this, I end up going too damn far. but it does work. The shifter's unlocked now, and the detent that locks the steering wheel is free. It's not going to be very convenient, but it sure beats hot wiring the car. Maybe I'll stick to fixing cars rather than stealing them. I've mangled this to the point where I can't actually turn it. Well, currently, I believe it is in the on position, otherwise the shifter wouldn't work. I think what we'll do is make sure we have power on the coil, then we'll just put all this back together and put a kill switch in it with a toggle. That way we can shut the engine off. Theoretically, right now, the coil should be powered, the engine should be able to run. Can of course verify that with just a multimeter. The side of the wire going to the distributor is the discharge side. It is not power, which would leave this one as being our power. Okay, we have nothing. Well, so much for that theory. We do not have any power to the coil. Clipped the rod out of the ignition switch. And she cranks. And you know, the wipers work tremendous. I mean, they're just wonderful. They're ready to go. And you can turn those off, I wonder. Yeah. Anyhow, I think we're ready to rock and roll and see if this thing will pop off. Now that I can crank it fairly easily. I'm going to rig up a fuel system on it. I do want to verify that the coil has power, so we have spark, but all this seems to be working the way it should. Still no power on the coil, so most likely we've got a mouse eating wires somewhere that's keeping us from having power there, or I don't know. These have a resistor wire, of course, because they're points. Honestly, this wiring doesn't look like it's in that bad a condition. I might have just found it. This wire's been chewed in half right here, and it's red and green. I think that is the ignition wire. That doesn't always mean anything, but it is heading that direction. It's as good of a shot as anything, and it does have power on. Let's hook it back up and see if that gives us a coil power just as a shot in the dark, and if not, I'll use this as my power source. Well, whatever that wire is not for the coil, or if it is, it no longer has power, something shorted and killed it, I don't know. I don't care. Getting into the wiring of this car is not something I have any desire to do. Let's just bypass the coil, and we gave it a shot. But let me just run a wire straight to the coil here. Now we'll have some power. There we go. See? Classy, huh? It's hard to get wiring like this these days, you know. True professional stuff. I tried to save the points by running the coil wire through a Mopar ballast resistor I found in my cabinet. Turns out it was bad. What a shock. Well, this would have been a great idea, but that resistor is bad and is currently incredibly hot and melting itself to that towel. 12 volts straight to the coil it is. Godspeed points. Verify that that is working, and yes. Lots of voltage straight to the coil. Great, they're gonna love that. For the record, wiring the fuel pump to the coil wire is a terrible idea, but in this instance it may drop the voltage low enough that the points will live. Clicky clack installed, fuel system installed. Let's see if she makes noise. I think I'm going to go ahead and disconnect our crank wire again. That way I can just jump it out up here and stay under the hood and work on it. And before we get too far, there is in fact oil in it. That's going to be plenty good enough just to crank on it and see if it'll pop off. We've got coil power. We have a carburetor that is dumping fuel. Okay, well, we're off to a great start. Come on now, get that float unstuck. I probably shouldn't be trying to run the fuel pump off of that toggle switch. We may need to redo that, especially with this pissant wire I got here. Alright, so maybe our points aren't clean enough. Let's just check for some spark out of the coil. Okay, we got no spark. Alright, let's check our points again. Maybe I didn't get them clean enough. Got pretty consistent spark now, so that's something. There we go. I mean, everything is smoking. I'm torture testing the hell out of that Reband battery, that's for sure. This car is not going to end this video without bursting into flames, mark my words. We got spark now, that's for sure. We just got to get her to take off and go. I think I have successfully murdered this battery. It did do quite a bit of cranking on it earlier, so yeah, let me go get another battery. We either have no accelerator pump. It's either no accelerator pump or nothing's getting through that filter anymore. It was, for sure, because it was spraying out of the vent. I just want to hear it pop off. I'm not going to run it forever on this brake clean, but I just want to hear it run for a minute. Yeah, we still got spark? This doesn't sound like we got spark. No. Let me fiddle with the points again. I'm going to set the point gap with a business card. I just checked it, zapped the shit out of me, so I know it's definitely working. The way you set point gap is you get it up on a high side of the cam that's in the distributor. You want them to open about the width of a business card or a paper clip or whatever you can find. I will stick a business card in between the points. I'll tighten it down, and that should be it. We did move them a little bit. We had spark, but it's kind of inconsistent. Leads me to believe possibly point gap. Helicopter's flying overhead today. Wonder if I'm under surveillance again. Oh yeah, that's a lot of spark now. Oh yeah, it's already trying. I should check my firing order again, perhaps, but kind of seems like the distributor's in wrong or something. Well, unfortunately, I think I know what's wrong with this. I think it's got a stuck valve. Means I probably need to pull the valve covers, but I'm dumb, so let's see if we can get it to fire off anyway. This is a non-interference engine. It's not going to hurt anything major.
Oh, silly Pass Dalton. How wrong you could be.
So I can hear air popping back out of that carburetor there. Although it is getting better. With the air popping back out of that, that's telling me that there's a valve open. That's allowing compression to pop back out of the carb. And it's not very happy about that. But I think it might be getting better. Well, I'm going to pull the valve covers and look for a stuck valve. Should have done that in the first place, I suppose. Well, I didn't really see this coming. I didn't think it would be that hard. The worst part about pulling these valve covers is all the crap they put on top of the engine. I don't think these have ever been off. Oh, there's a big vacuum leak that just happened. How about that? That just broke too. Just made another giant vacuum leak. How about that? We should be able to hear them and see the valves move if I just whack them with a hammer. That one's good. And we know it's probably an intake valve because I can hear it back through the carburetor. That one moves. That one moves. 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 Nothing's crazy out of the ordinary on this side. Let's pull the other valve cover off. The only way to get this bolt out is a 1/4 inch drive and about 1/8 of a turn at a time. So guess which bolt won't go back in? I'll give you 3 guesses. Now this side is significantly worse than that side. Good old Ford. Let's just pile everything on top of it. Why would you ever want to work on it? That'd be stupid.
Goodness.
Anybody obvious? Damn, why is that? That head over there is like spotless. This head over here is disgusting. I don't know, I guess we'll watch it while it cranks. most of the crud out of there. If I had to guess, I think we're probably looking at a rebuild on this anyway, so I'm not like super concerned with doing what I should do. But I still want to hear it run. Alright, all those work.
Yeah.
They'll move, they ain't stuck. Alright, not a valve then. While we got the valve cover off, let's make sure this thing is on top dead center and somebody hasn't installed the distributor incorrectly down the line. Oh God. Oh no.
Oh.
The fuel pump is working.
Oh.
It's pumping that out of the tank.
Oh.
I'm glad I disconnected that. Here's the power steering pump dipstick.
Oh, fantastic.
If I cut that, it's just going to drain, but do I care? No.
One spot we don't have to mow later. My gosh, what a smell.
That's as bad as I've ever seen. This car's been off the road since 80-something. I am going to check and see if it's on top dead center. First, I'm going to plug all of the vacuum leaks. That's a good idea to do. Thankfully, the car came with 8 vacuum plugs. It's very convenient. I plugged that one already, professionally. This one's been plugged already. We'll have to plug that on the back here. Yep. So that's number 1. Put him away safely. Now what I'm going to do is bump the engine over until it blows my finger out of the number 1 cylinder hole. Intake valve is on its way shutting right now. Blew my finger off. The intake valve has shut. It has let the fuel mixture in. Piston's on its way up. That's enough to tell us if it's in the ballpark of number 1. Guy right here, this wire is number 1, and you can see that the rotor is pointing right at it, so distributor is installed correctly, but we did need to verify that, and with the valve cover off was a good time to do it. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. We got spark, we got fuel. It seems to have compression. It doesn't crank fast enough. That could be some of it. That doesn't really explain the backfiring and nonsense it's doing. I've successfully put a dent in the carburetor. It needs a starter, or actually it needs this battery cable replaced. Probably what it really needs. Yep. Guess I'll see if I can get a starter for it. I guess we'll jack it up and try to pull a starter here. They won't have one till tomorrow, but we can at least get this one off. I did not expect this to be this difficult. Usually these things run like that, but this car is an exceptional pile of shit. And if it wasn't for the sake of, I just want to hear the damn thing run, I would just yank it and rebuild it, but maybe it's okay. There's still a chance. No, there's not.
And that was the smartest thing I said all day.
I tell you what, if that doesn't say safety, I don't know what does. I'm all about safety here. Safety first. Yep. Always. Yeah, you got the safety blocks?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, all about the safety. Yep. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that. Just leave it just like that.
The starter does appear to be bad because it's still incredibly hot and it hasn't been cranked on in about 30 minutes.
I very quickly grew tired of ripping my face open on the exposed belts of this tire, so we decided to yank it off and replace it with the spare after we got done with the starter.
Away with you. Goodbye. How in the hell are you supposed to get that out of there? Oh my god, you piece of shit. Now we got room. My professional estimation, I think the starter's bad. This is probably the real root of our problems right here. Whatever the hell is going on here. And also, look how just rusty all the connections are. Pretty much had everything going against it, didn't it? Super epic extreme oil change time. I'm a mechanic. I can change oil. I do bet this is exceptionally bad. Oh, dude.
What?
There be stuff in there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. Hang on, let me level it out a little more. Get some more out of there. That's an oldie there. See that bad boy? Group 7. I know, I'm pre-filling an oil filter for once. Shocking, right? It's always a first for everything. The only reason I'm doing it is because I don't know if this thing's going to start fast enough to fill an oil filter anytime soon, so better fill it up now. Okay, dumping some fresh VR1 in there. All the zinc you need, no questions asked. Oh, at least it'll have that as a fresh start. Got the valve covers back on it. Hopefully a new starter and a new battery cable, and we're in business. Let's help this thing out a little bit more, Jay. Why don't you cut the belt off of the AC compressor and the smog pump? Not locked up. All the idlers are pretty good. I think the smog pump has deleted itself, actually. Just need to get the belt out of the way.
Okay.
The starter cable. Look at that. It's falling apart. Fuzzy stuff in there. It's all corrosion. Yeah, it's in pretty bad condition. This and a starter, that'll get it cranking good anyway. One genuine Chinesium starter from O'Reilly, and a Chinesium battery cable from O'Reilly. None of it cheap, by the way. Let's toss it on here, see if this thing will wind over fast enough to fire. Not really. This battery is dead. Maybe that's it. Please don't be seized. Just don't be seized, damn it. Alright, I know this battery's good and hot. Yay! Well, that is significantly better. Let me put this back on the ground so it's easier to work on. Spare tire's like brand new. At least it'll roll easier to get it onto the scrap trailer where it'll turn into beer cans. Better already. Alright. You gonna run? Maybe I need to loosen the distributor and twist on it a little bit. It's taking a lot of effort to crank this engine still. It's a very good possibility there's just something terribly wrong with it. Distributor hold down was suspiciously loose. What I'll probably do is just advance the shit out of it. It's gonna be stuck. Let's see what lots of timing did for it. There it goes. There was the antifreeze spraying on my face. Let's try to loop those together somehow, or plug it maybe, so that I can run this thing for a while. I would like to be able to run it for a minute or two. That would be helpful. It does have antifreeze though, and it was green. That's a good sign. Plug the heater hose, check transmission fluid, get it running again. Maybe try to drive it around the yard or something. That's all I need to know. If I were a betting man, and I am, I'd take a guess that whoever last touched this car almost 40 years ago probably jacked the timing up on it, couldn't get it to run, and that's why it wound up sitting in a tow lot. Not quite as good a story as the 18-pack of Coors Light and probably some kind of wild DUI charge, but, you know, it makes a lot more sense. Old heater hoses out here, but always keep the steel tubes. This will make putting the 460 in the Torino a lot easier, having these to route the heater hoses. Otherwise, they end up getting kinked down in there. It's just kind of a poor design of where they put them. I'll probably have to get my timing light out, maybe. Let's see if we can get her to fire off and run on its own for a while. Good Lord. Huh. Idle it up a lot so it'll sit here and just run. That's what it's got to do. My throttle stop fell out. I don't know where to adjust the curb idle on this thing. I found the curb idle adjustment. So let's idle it up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean about 2,000 RPM. We have no accelerator pump, so it's kind of hard for it to come off idle. So we're going to have to rev it up a lot. I'm not even concerned about this carburetor. I don't need this thing to run perfect. I just want to hear it run. And it's not running on all 8 right now. We got to see if this thing will come around for us. Also, I don't want to burn that transmission up. Better make sure there's some kind of fluid in it at least. Well, it's on the tip. Let me dump some of that in here. Thought I saw a few quarts of ATF in here. 1 quart of Type F, that's good. All Ford transmissions up until about 1976 used Type F fluid. It has friction additive in it, which helps the clutches bite. We got some transmission fluid in her now, so we don't got to worry about burning a pump up at least. Now let's get her fired off again. Hopefully it'll just run. And what I'm going to do is trickle some ATF down the carburetor to get on the valves and try to free them up if they're sticky, blow the carbon out of the cylinders, etc. You can use anything from water to, you know, seafoam for 10 bucks a can, but transmission fluid works great. Water works really good. It's a steam cleaning. This might work a little bit better. I have to cheat it a little bit because we don't have an accelerator pump. What the hell was that? Anyway, let's just start it again. I think it's seized. Oh my God, it's seized. No! It didn't even run that long. What the hell? It's seized. It's seized hard. You have got to be shitting me. How hot did it get? I mean, it's pretty hot, but I can touch it. And it ran for like 8 minutes.
9 minutes and 15 seconds, according to my raw footage.
Yeah, something let loose somewhere. I don't see a rod hanging out of it or anything, but if you recall the debris in the oil, I think it was probably jacked to begin with. Also, it was seized when we started. I'm gonna try to weasel a breaker bar in here. It's almost impossible to get to, but if I can try to roll the engine backwards, and we could crank it again, just to see what happened. This thing gave me almost no indication that it was about to seize. It rolls backwards pretty good. Nope, it's done for, man. I'm gonna start yanking plugs. Let's see if we can get an idea of what happened. Hey, found it. Number 2. Holy shit. Something managed to hit the plug? Good lord, is there a rod hanging out of this thing? I don't know if you can see this. But that shiny thing there? Kind of cylinder thing? I believe that's the top of the connecting rod. I think this piston came apart. I'm pretty sure the piston broke, because if I look in this one, which is a good hole, I can see the piston. I would like to pull the cylinder head off of this thing and see what exactly I just did to it. Well, I didn't do it to it, but whatever happened to it. Pull the distributor out, and we'll pull the intake, and we'll pull passenger head first, since we already cut the exhaust pipe off it. I reckon I could just pull the whole bit at once. And this distributor is going to be stuck big time. Good thing about this, not like we're going to hurt it. Well, we might as well get some new hose clamps out of the deal, huh? Paid $950 for one Lincoln Continental worth of beer cans and some hose clamps.
Isn't that real nice bucket?
It's a damn nice bucket.
It's a great bucket. Plants in it.
Put plants in this.
Oh my gosh, you know how people make those kitschy like water fountains out of the cool old trucks?
Yeah.
Just make a really crappy water fountain out of this car.
We could put it in the potty pond. Poop just pours out of it.
I feel like that's what it kind of deserves.
This radiator is worth having. This is a very unique radiator. It's very narrow, thick. There we go. These are good to have. The phenolic spacer from the factory. You know, you might say to yourself, boy, that's a lot of work for something to just fall apart on you. And you're right. If you've ever been kicked in the balls before, that's kind of what it feels like. If you don't have balls to be kicked in, I don't know how to describe it. It sucks. That'll make life a little easier. It's leaking gas all over the car.
Oh no. Foreshadowing?
Angus needs a bunch of this stuff for his car. Dig the homemade thermostat housing gasket.
Very nice.
They didn't even trim to fit. They just threw it on. Whoa.
Wow.
You think... Well, I don't think the thermostat was stuck, at least. It was certainly flowing coolant through it. So I didn't cook the motor. That's good. It wasn't my fault entirely. I don't think it was my fault at all. But still, I was thinking about it like, I really should have looked. I did make sure it was flowing, and it was, but you know, I didn't like have a temp gun out or anything. Ford wasn't messing around when they bolted their intake manifold on this thing. I mean, it's got bolts every damn where. I don't know why I'm even bothering keeping this stuff, but maybe it'll go to use in something more deserving. Like the Pontiac 400 I end up putting in that Torino. I really wanted a 460, but they hate me. I think I got all the bolts out. They don't give you nothing to pry on. I can't imagine this thing being rusted on there. Why would that be? I hate doing it this way, for the record, because you end up gouging the surface, but kind of is what it is on this thing. Oh no, there's piston in there. Oh no. Oh no. Holy sh**. I have had probably 400 cars. Most of them I got running just like this. First time I've ever had a catastrophic failure. I don't think there's anything you can do to prevent that. Just about time the odds caught up with me, I guess. Let's see if any of these look funny. I don't know why I'm keeping any of this stuff. Oh, I can't get the back bolt out. It'll hit the freaking heater box. Ford! You know, fire would have fixed this. Oh no, I got antifreeze in it. You know, it's cool. I still can't get to it.
Not personal or anything, huh?
Huh?
Not personal or anything, huh?
No. Not at all.
It's not like you've been working out in the most ridiculous heat we've had in quite a while.
Oh no.
No.
On this?
No.
A complete waste of time.
Yeah. Present.
Well, that'll get some of it. Worked pretty good. See them copper tubes in there? That's what the crackheads be after right there. Yes. That's good number 2 copper.
Great. Crackheads in the yard at 2 a.m.
We leave them out like, you know, like you leave cookies out for Santa Claus.
Yeah.
We leave copper out for the crackheads. Yummy. And just like that, you can do head gaskets on your Lincoln. It's that easy. Smog pump bolts to the head, of course. And you got to pull the pulley off the smog pump to unbolt the smog pump, you know, because they couldn't have designed that any other way. Weird how that would appear to be rusted solid to it. There. Yeah. You need that, you know. It's got to have that for saving the environment and whatnot. Holy shit! It was worth it. What? Oh, god dang, it's still warm. Oh, there, look, I freed it up. Oh, it's trashed. Yeah, it put a hole in the cylinder. Oh. Yep, it's junk. Motor's junk. He'd have to sleeve that hole, and even at that, I don't know if I would ever trust it. You can see that this is what makes the Dove motor a Dove motor, though. Flat top piston with a valve relief. That's what would have made it, with those heads, a good running motor. It bent the connecting rod. I can see it from here. Even the cylinder, you know, it does have quite a bit of ridge in it. But this cylinder doesn't even look that bad either. It must have... Oh yeah, that bearing let go. Rod bearing died. Oh, that's not what happened at all. What do you see? The exhaust valve has left the chat. That's what killed it. It did have sticking valves. That intake valve was stuck too, right next to it. Incredible. Well, turns out it was my fault. I thought this was a non-interference engine, which it is by what I looked up. I'm going to say there was some interference happening regardless. This can be fixed, at least. You know what I should have done? I should have done what my gut told me to do. Was pull the engine out of the car, rebuild it, then put it in the Torino. But YouTube told me to make this piece of shit run. Because that's a video. My pre-YouTube car guy instincts was correct. Shit. Man, we even looked. We made sure they were moving.
And they all moved.
They moved. Maybe that wasn't that at all. It may have just snapped off. I mean, you can see where it broke. It could have just been corroded really bad and then snapped off and fell into the hole. But that's what happened when it was running there, and then something went clunk. They'll do it every time. Son of a bitch. Anybody got a 429 Cobra Jet they'd sell me? I'll pay good money for it if it runs. Or maybe another Dub 460 and I can get these heads fixed. Let me know. I'm going to pull that other head just to keep these, and then this thing's going to the boneyard. Well, actually, it's going to Angus's house. where he can rob whatever he wants. Well, it started raining. I'm about halfway to pulling that other head. You know what? It's just not my day. It's just not my car, not my day. I'm just gonna flop the hood back on it, and I'll finish pulling that head before she goes up to Angus's place for him to rob the rest of the parts he needs off it. Yeah, that's gonna do it this time on Pole Barn Garage. This could have gone a lot better. Could have gone a lot better. It's not often you see a complete, utter failure on YouTube. I think everybody pretty much figured it would be me that would happen to. If you like this, make sure you go to polebarnmerch.com, pick you up a shirt, stuff like that. Pick you up a shirt, a lunchbox, some lighters. You know, we got lighters now. They're over there in the rain. Help me recoup some of this if you can. Every time a 460 is involved, I find myself begging for people to buy a t-shirt. We'll see you next time. Pole Barn Garage. God damn.